What's up, guys? It's Blue,
Delta.
and we're going to be bringing you our deck profile for Viper. So, quickly, he was a bit of a minor antagonist that he had the first part of Season 3. After that, the torch was passed off to Yubel, and so he had a hand in resurrecting Yubel, but overall, he wasn't a huge player, but we think he was definitely worth mentioning. Plus, his snake archetype is pretty cool. So, we're going to go through, show you guys how we built his deck. It's a lot of duplicates because it's almost exclusively the Venom archetype. So, you know, not a huge amount of variety, but the deck overall has some consistency and it plays fairly nicely. So I'm going to start off with the one non-Venom monster, Serpentine Princess. Wasn't really played by him. It was more just kind of a see in the hand at one point. And generally we don't add see in the hand cards. You guys know us if you've been following us. But we thought we needed some cards, and we thought that it adds some nice variety to the deck rather than using, say, Venom Cobra. They both have that defense, but the Serpentine adds a little bit more to the deck, we feel. So we went with that. Venom Cobra could be, you know, essentially the same thing. Actually, Serpentine Princess is affected by Venom Swamp, but other than that, very similar to Venom Cobra and not something we felt was too out of place. So, going through the rest of it, to Venom Naga, you know, the snake deity.
The big boss.
So this was, you know, his big trump monster. Additionally, it is the third win condition we're introducing to our character deck. So the first being Exodia from a long time ago, then Bakur's Destiny board, and now Viper having Venom Naga. So another win condition, this one having a little bit different of effect, of course, because now it's based exclusively on just itself and not having multiple cards combined. So it's really fun to play. It's really cool to see, although it's still difficult to use. And of course, by now you guys have seen Schmidt. He is the snake in the Bio Club, and we are really appreciative of our friends who allowed us to help use him in this video because we felt that it was very fitting to have a snake with a snake deck.
Why not have one of Viper's friends slithering around?
Next up, Venominon, the king of poisonous snakes. This one's in 3. It's a much more potent monster in his deck than Venom Naga. Really easy to summon with damage equals reptile, and it's really easy to just dump the snake monsters into the graveyard to start boosting them up quickly. So overall, he is, you know, the heavy hitter and the main boss of the deck. Because again, Venom Naga, I mean, has the same attacking effect, plus the win condition, plus, you know, the benefits of being invulnerable to a lot of card types. But overall, sees less play, and that win condition is again a little bit harder to bring out if your opponent's playing very defensively. Venom was also the card I could not stop pulling out of Tactical Evolution booster packs. I had like 6. Next up, Venom Boa. So
Unnecessarily a tribute.
yeah, the one downside to the Venom monsters is that they're very weak. They have effects which hinder them, or, you know, excess star levels because they just put Venom counters on monsters. And with Venom Swamp, that's a really good strategy. You can really start bringing your opponent's monsters' attacks down quickly for the weaker Venom monsters or Venominon. But overall, the archetype feels a little bit unbalanced in that the monsters are overall incredibly weak. So 1600, 1200, and he can put out 2 counters. Venom Serpent, so less attack, dishes out 1 counter, and he's the only one that can attack if you use the effect, because Boa and Venom Snake cannot attack during the user effect. And the difference between Venom Snake and Serpent is a mere 200 attack points, so 1000 versus 1200, really not that bad. But again, the way
Clearly, that 200 was so good.
Yeah,
to stop Venom Snake from attacking.
it makes a huge difference. And that wraps up his monsters. So again, it's almost exclusively the Venom monsters. all with several copies. But the deck has a nice cohesion because it is also limited to the one archetype, which hurts it in some ways but helps it in some others. So going through the spells, we have Monster Born and 2 Pot of Greed, a choice that we felt helped make the deck run a little bit smoother, because the deck, again, had some issues being just the one archetype. And, you know, an archetype that struggles at that.
And it was also just shy of 40 decks, so if we have to put something in there, generics like Pot Greed, everybody used it.
Alright, so, super important card is Snake Rain. It dumps monsters from your deck, which boosts Venom Minon, Venom Naga. Venom Shot's a great way to dish out some Venom counters. Again, so a lot of the cards really work off the archetype, which works off dishing out counters. So the last spell card is, of course, the most key one, Venom Swamp. Puts a Venom counter on every monster on the field that's not a Venom monster at the end of every player's turn, and additionally, for each Venom counter on the field on a monster, the monster loses 500 attack points. So this is the way the deck functions a lot, is just by weakening opponent's monsters, because once they hit 0 from this effect, they are immediately destroyed. So that's how the deck works, aside from just boosting up Venom Minon and Venom Naga, is just draining opponent's monsters. So starting with the traps is damage equals reptile. This is the way to summon Venom Minon, because if you take damage,
Any battle damage at all, because 0 is enough to summon Venom Minon.
so like you said, you take some damage, you drop this trap card, you can summon a monster, and again, a lot of them, even though they're weak, you know, unless you're taking a serious direct attack or some serious damage, only one you can pull out is Venom Minon, but usually if you pull him out with this effect, by the time you're getting him out, he's considerably stronger than a lot of other monsters on the field. Next is 2 Offerings to the Snake Deity. Not a card that was actually played, but a card that, you know, of course fits the archetype, and something that we felt helped the deck because it gives him the ability to destroy some cards.
It's also a good defensive option, because he doesn't really have any way to stop the monster attacking or do anything like that.
Yeah, so the deck is very limited in a lot of its responses. Again, most of the cards just focus on dishing out counters and then working off that. So, 2 Rise of the Snake Deity, the card to summon Venom Naga. 2 Snake Deity's Command. Can be tricky to use. You just have to reveal 1 Venom monster and then you can negate a spell card. So actually very powerful effect, but can be difficult to use depending on, you know, what part of the duel you draw, because you may have tossed out a lot of those Venoms already to boost one of the bosses.
Especially late game, it can be hard to use. If you keep 1 Venom monster in hand, you can use it for both copies to reveal it.
And the absolute last card in his deck is Snake Whistle. So like a lot of characters we see, like Jaden or Aster, it works the same as D-Signal or Hero Signal, yeah. So if Snake monster destroyed, or Venom monster destroyed, summon them from the deck, level 4 or lower.
In Viper's deck, it's a worse damage equals reptile, but it's still good. This plus damage equals reptile gives you 2 monsters from 1 battle.
So, all in all, it's a fairly simplistic deck, but the archetype is, we think it's cool. So, you know, it was a character that we definitely thought we wanted to build because it's an easy deck to build. It's a unique deck type that introduces a new win condition monster card. And overall, you know, not a bad character we felt to include.
Plus, Snake's pretty cool.
So, that's it for us. So stay tuned for more awesome videos, duels, deck profiles, and a lot of other content from us. And now, word from our sponsors.
So, my name is Ashley, and I am the president of the Biology Club. And I just want to let you guys know that Schmidt is a 3 to 4 year old milk snake, and he got his name from an older, that was Ka, our other guy that we have here in the Bio Club that just ran by. He is a leopard gecko. But Schmidt was named for an old herpetologist who died in 1957 because he got bit by a very, very venomous snake and instead of going to a hospital, he wrote down his symptoms. And one of his very last logs was him eating dinner before he basically bled out, and all of his liver and everything was clogged. So that's why Schmidt got his name.
It's beautiful. Science is cool, and people hate on the snakes, but they're seriously misunderstood creatures, in the words of
Geckos like Ka are much more feisty than snakes.
All right, well, hopefully you guys enjoyed the deck profile and that word from our sponsors, Rio, Ashley, and her friend Miriam. A huge thanks for letting us use Schmidt. Hopefully you guys really enjoyed seeing him too. As always, more content to come. Thank you guys, and YGO Anime Games out.
It's better from this side.
Yeah.
He's gonna
He
kill
is
you.
going into your hair.
He won't kill you. He's just.
He's just exploring.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm Delta, and this is Schmidt. Schmitty, Schmidt. He is very content where he is.
Yeah, he was all over me. He was like up, down, in my
Up,
ear,
down, left,
in my
right,
hair.
A, B.
Up, down, left, right, A, B, C.